Stop scrolling for a few minutes because what's coming could genuinely change how you walk, how you stand, how steady you feel on your own feet from here on. Most appointments hand you a leaflet about calcium and call it a day. I want to go somewhere most doctors never quite get to, the specific foods that eaten early can help slow down and in plenty of cases actually reverse the muscle loss quietly happening in your legs right now. Reverse. I mean that word. It's not too late, whatever your age, whatever shape you're starting from. I'm Dr. William Lee, and I've worked with a lot of people over the years who assumed their weakness, their shaky balance, their struggle getting up out of a chair was just the price of getting older. That belief causes more damage than almost anything else I hear in clinic, and I want to take it apart properly today. Here's something worth sitting with. Eating the right thing before 8 a.m. consistently can meaningfully slow the aging process in your leg muscles. Not a drug, not an expensive supplement, ordinary food sitting on shelves in every grocery store that most people walk right past every single morning. Before we dive in, tell me where you're watching from and how old you are, and the one activity you refuse to give up no matter what. Walking the dog, dancing in a family gathering, working in the garden. I read every comment. I want to hear it. Research increasingly points to the right morning meal helping people past 60 hold on to leg strength, steady their balance, cut down on nighttime cramping, and slow ongoing muscle loss in a meaningful way. Millions of older adults end up leaning on a walker or a wheelchair or lose independent movement entirely because of this slow, quiet process. Most never even hear about the piece we're covering today. So let me ask you honestly, could your mornings be working against your legs right now simply because of what you're skipping? Stick around because I'm walking through 5 specific breakfast choices that genuinely support strong, steady legs well into your 60s and beyond. The last one might surprise you. It doesn't have to be permanent. Feeling your legs get weaker year after year isn't something you're required to accept. Turning 60 doesn't mean giving up steady walking or good balance or living on your own terms. Here's the encouraging part. This is reversible in a lot of cases, and none of it needs medication, expensive equipment, or a punishing workout. It starts somewhere much smaller. Your first meal of the day. Sounds almost too simple, I know, but what you eat for breakfast can protect your legs or slowly work against them. And honestly, this is one of the things nutrition specialists worry about most with an older population. Most adults past 60 get breakfast wrong in one of a few predictable ways. Skip it entirely. Swap it for coffee. Reach for something like plain white toast that barely does anything. Some people say, I'll eat later, and just sip water all morning instead. Here's what happens when that pattern repeats. No fuel means the body shifts into a catabolic state, breaking down its own tissue for energy. And the muscles targeted first tend to be the big ones in your legs, the exact muscles behind walking, standing, balance, catching yourself before a fall. Research giving older adults a properly balanced breakfast for several weeks found real improvements in leg strength in a fairly short window. And the foods involved were affordable, ordinary things sitting in any grocery store. You've seen every one of them. The problem was never availability. It's timing and combination. Over the next while, I'll walk through 5 specific breakfast choices that support leg muscle, balance, and less cramping. And at the end, there's a less obvious one that's helped a lot of older adults get real mobility back from just a small daily serving. If you've ever assumed lost muscle simply can't come back, stay with me. You might think differently by the end. What's actually happening in your legs? Past 60, the body naturally starts losing muscle, especially in the legs. There's a real medical name for it, sarcopenia. It's one of the leading reasons behind trouble walking longer distances, difficulty rising from a chair, poor balance, and eventually needing a cane, a walker, or ongoing care. Here's what makes it tricky. Muscle loss doesn't hurt. No fever, no dramatic sign flashing at you. It creeps in quietly. One day your legs just feel a bit heavier. Another day you stumble slightly, stepping off a curb. You tell yourself it's just age, and somewhere along the way you start pushing up out of chairs with your arms without even noticing you've started doing it. But age on its own isn't really the culprit. losing muscle is. Researchers focused on aging have found that adults over 60 can lose a meaningful share of their leg muscle mass over roughly a decade if nothing actively counters it. And this isn't only about strength or how things look. As leg muscle shrinks, balance worsens, walking speed drops, fall risk climbs, circulation weakens, mobility narrows. Abdominal fat tends to creep up, bone density can slide, even sleep and memory can take a hit. The emotional weight of feeling stuck in a body that no longer responds the way it used to, that's real. It deserves to be taken seriously, not brushed off. So why the morning specifically? After 7 or 8 hours of sleep, your body's basically fasting. No incoming fuel means it starts pulling energy from muscle tissue, a genuinely risky pattern for older adults whose ability to rebuild muscle is already slower than it used to be. Skip the right breakfast and leg muscles can start losing ground before your day's even properly started. Your legs hold some of the biggest muscle groups in your whole body, so losing mass there ripples outward. Metabolism, circulation, a whole chain of smaller problems, cramping, tingling, numbness, unsteady steps, coordination trouble. That's a big part of why plenty of older adults with no major diagnosed illness still end up weaker and more dependent as the years go by. Here's the good news though. The body can still recover if you act early enough. Eat the right things at the right time and you can rebuild muscle, steady your balance, ease the cramping, and reclaim independence one morning at a time. David's story. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call David, 69, a retired construction engineer. For years, he climbed scaffolding and hiked hills without a second thought. Then, more recently, just getting out of bed became genuinely hard. Stiff knees, feet that felt heavy or numb. His first steps each morning slow and unsteady, like a machine that needed oiling. One morning, reaching for the newspaper, he tripped on his own porch step. Nothing serious physically, but it shook him. In that moment, he realized he wasn't just losing strength, he was losing confidence in his own body. His wife had noticed too, his pace slowing, his walks getting shakier, needing both hands to push up off the couch, his morning strolls quietly stopping altogether. Then the nighttime leg cramps started. No major illness, no diabetes, no arthritis. What David was going through is something a lot of healthcare providers quietly recognize, the after 60 phase, where muscle loss speeds up silently, especially in the legs, carrying your full weight through every step you take. After that fall, he went looking for answers, talked to a nutritionist, read a lot, watched health videos, and came across something he genuinely never thought about before: how much leg strength actually depends on breakfast. So he changed course. No more skipping meals, no more black coffee on an empty stomach. Instead, foods packed with exactly what his muscles needed: nutrients for circulation, tissue repair, balance. About 3 weeks in, he noticed a real shift. Getting up felt easier. His steps felt lighter. The cramps disappeared. Soon he was back in the park, and within 2 months he was walking a couple of kilometers each morning without stopping. These days, he tells his wife, smiling, that he feels like he's got his legs back. One dietary shift, no medication, no formal physical therapy, and he reclaims strength and independence a lot of people assume is simply gone for good past 60. The same is possible for you, honestly. Not luck, just the right start to the day. Food 1, whole eggs. Hard to beat a properly cooked egg here. Eggs carry nearly the full set of essential amino acids your body needs for muscle repair, and the real power sits in the yolk, packed with vitamin D, B12, choline, and leucine, the specific amino acid that kicks off muscle protein synthesis, genuinely important for slowing muscle loss past 60. Research on older adults eating 2 eggs daily over several weeks found noticeable gains in leg strength and everyday functional independence. Eggs also support the nervous system side of movement, helping coordination and balance, lowering fall risk along the way. The B12 in the yolk specifically helps protect the coating around nerves, improving how cleanly your brain talks to your muscles, meaning smoother movement, steadier steps. Eggs also deliver iron in a form the body absorbs well, supporting blood flow and oxygen delivery to leg muscles, something a lot of older adults run a bit short on. Best results come from eating the whole egg, yolk included, within about an hour of waking. Boiled is simple and keeps the nutrients intact. For variety, scramble with fresh spinach or tomato. Both bring antioxidants and magnesium that support the lower body further. That single egg each morning is more than breakfast. It's a real daily line of defense against quiet muscle decline. Stick with it consistently for a month, and most people notice a real difference. Fewer cramps, steadier legs, easier standing. Food 2, oatmeal with chia seeds. A simple bowl of oats topped with chia seeds gives your legs steady, sustained energy through the whole morning. Eggs are more about building material. Oatmeal supplies a continuous stream of support for muscle function and endurance instead, and paired with chia, it becomes a genuinely strong tool for preserving leg strength, easing cramping, supporting circulation. Oats carry beta-glucan, a soluble fiber that eases inflammation, improves nutrient absorption in muscle tissue, and helps stabilize blood sugar, particularly relevant since metabolism naturally slows with age. Chia seeds add omega-3s, calcium, potassium, and magnesium, all genuinely important for healthy muscle contraction, clean nerve signaling, and preventing cramps, especially the nighttime kind that wrecks sleep. Magnesium helps muscle relax after it contracts. Potassium supports electrolyte balance and circulation, helping oxygen and nutrients reach even the smallest muscles in your legs. Simple to make. Cook a few tablespoons of rolled oats in water or unsweetened plant milk until soft. Stir in a tablespoon of chia seeds, add banana slices or a handful of blueberries if you like for natural sweetness and extra antioxidants. Eaten warm within an hour of waking, this tends to support better balance, standing or on stairs, fewer cramps, and steadier energy through the day. Nighttime cramping often eases noticeably too, a sign your muscles are finally getting what they need to recover properly. Food 3, bananas. Sometimes called nature's electrolyte tablet, and honestly, that's fair. High potassium content makes bananas genuinely useful for preventing cramps, supporting circulation, and keeping muscle contraction healthy in older adults. Eating one shortly after waking works well, since that's typically when the body's mineral reserves sit at their lowest after a night's sleep. A medium banana provides a solid chunk of daily potassium, important for the electrical balance inside muscle cell membranes that lets muscles fire smoothly. Without enough potassium, muscles can misfire or spasm, feeding into nighttime cramps or twitching, a common complaint among older adults, particularly those on diuretics or dealing with reduced mineral absorption. Some research has linked regular banana consumption in seniors to noticeably fewer leg cramps compared with those eating little potassium-rich food. Bananas also carry vitamin B6, supporting the nerve communication behind coordination and balance while walking. One important note here, and I want to be direct about it, not everyone should eat bananas freely. If you have type 2 diabetes, blood sugar concerns, or kidney disease, be genuinely careful. Excess potassium can affect blood sugar or heart rhythm in those situations. A smaller or slightly underripe banana is the gentler choice there, since it carries less sugar and more resistant starch for slower, steadier digestion. Best eaten after your main breakfast rather than on a completely empty stomach, paired with oatmeal, chia, or yogurt for better absorption and steadier energy. For most healthy seniors, one small banana in the morning genuinely supports leg strength, stability, and slower age-related muscle loss. Affordable, easy to digest, quietly protective when it's part of the routine. Food 4, Greek yogurt. Genuinely effective against a slow muscle breakdown happening overnight while you sleep. Compared with regular yogurt, it carries close to double the protein, thanks to the straining process that removes most of the liquid whey. For adults past 60, the slow digesting casein protein in Greek yogurt delivers a steady stream of amino acids that support leg muscle maintenance. Worth remembering, overnight sleep already puts the body into a mild catabolic state, breaking down tissue for fuel, and age-related hormonal shifts make rebuilding that tissue slower than it used to be. Without enough protein first thing, leg muscles specifically, already more vulnerable because of reduced activity and circulation, can keep losing ground. A typical serving of Greek yogurt delivers a solid amount of high-quality protein, leucine included, the amino acid most effective at triggering muscle protein synthesis, alongside calcium and vitamin D, both supporting bone health and the nerve-muscle coordination behind balance and steady walking. The probiotics in yogurt support digestion and nutrient absorption too, which indirectly helps circulation in the legs. Research pairing solid morning protein with light daily activity in older adults found real gains in leg strength within weeks, alongside fewer nighttime cramps and better balance. If lactose is an issue, lactose-free Greek yogurt or a goat or sheep milk version works well instead. Skip anything with added sugar, since excess sugar tends to promote inflammation and works against everything this breakfast is meant to support. Food 5, beetroot, the one you didn't expect. Here's the less obvious one I promised. Beetroot, whether juiced, roasted, or blended into a smoothie, is one of the richest natural sources of dietary nitrates around. Once you eat it, the body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide, the compound responsible for relaxing and widening blood vessels, meaning more oxygen and nutrients actually reaching leg muscle tissue, right where circulation tends to weaken most with age. Some research on older adults has linked regular beetroot intake to better stamina during physical activity and improved blood flow to working muscles, which matters here because poor circulation is a real contributor to the heaviness, cramping, and fatigue so many people quietly write off as just getting older. Simple way to use it: a small glass of fresh beetroot juice or a few tablespoons of roasted beetroot blended into a morning smoothie with a bit of spinach and berries covers a lot of ground at once. Nitrates for circulation, iron and antioxidants from the greens and berries. Not exactly a traditional breakfast food for most people, which is probably why it gets overlooked so often. Still, it's quietly one of the more effective additions on this list for anyone whose legs feel heavy or slow to wake up in the morning. Bringing it together, 5 foods, each doing something a little different. Eggs for building material and nerve support. Oatmeal and chia for steady fuel and cramp prevention. Bananas for potassium and electrolyte balance. Greek yogurt for slow-release protein and overnight recovery. Beetroot for the circulation piece tying everything else together. None of them need to happen all at once or every single day. Rotating a few through your week is a completely reasonable, sustainable way to start. David didn't need a gym membership or a prescription, just a genuinely different first meal of the day repeated consistently. That's really the whole message here. Your legs aren't declining simply because of a birthday. They're responding every day to what you give them or don't. Change what happens at breakfast, and a lot of people are surprised by how much room for improvement is still there at 60, at 70, and well beyond. If this helped, subscribe and tell me in the comments which of these 5 you're starting with tomorrow morning. I read every one, and I'll see you in the next video.